Hello students, now let's start our next lecture which is about vacuum dryer. So in today's lecture we will see what do you mean by vacuum drying, what are the basic phenomena of vacuum drying, what are the different phases of vacuum drying, then we will see the vacuum dryer, how it works, what are the design parameters of vacuum dryer, then the different components of vacuum dryer, then different types of vacuum dryer, and lastly we will see the construction part of vacuum dryer, material of construction for vacuum dryer. So let's start the lecture. So what do you mean by vacuum drying? It is a drying process in which we create the vacuum so that the time for drying can be reduced. The drying time can be smaller in vacuum dryer when compared to the conventional type of drying. So vacuum drying is a process in which is carried out at a reduced pressure. Vacuum drying is generally carried out at a reduced pressure which lowers the heat requirement, for rapid drying. So we can reduce the amount of energy needed to evaporate the product, and hence it will reduce the amount of energy needed to dry the product. Okay. So since we are dealing in a low pressure, okay, or reduced pressure, so what will happen? The boiling point of sample will reduce. Okay, the boiling point of temperature, the boiling temperature of the water will get reduced, and hence it will facilitate the drying. Okay, it will facilitate the removal of water from the sample. Hence it will help in rapid drying. So there is one problem in vacuum dryer, that it gets corroded very easily, because generally the corrosion occurs at relative humidity below 30%, but due to hygroscopic dirt, okay, or due to hygroscopic material or hygroscopic dirt, okay, our food material is a hygroscopic in nature. So because of that material, the corrosion can occur at the RH of 20% also. Okay, so that's why we recommend to process the vacuum dryer lesser than the 20% of RH. Okay, so the air we are supplying, or the temperature RH we are keeping inside a vacuum dryer should be kept below to the 20%. Okay, so that we can overcome the problem of corrosion. Okay, vacuum drying consists of three phases. First is evacuation phase, evaporation phase, and final drying. Okay, so these three phases are there. First, evacuation phase. Evacuation phase means evacuating or removing all the gases or the air present inside the vacuum dryer and reduce the pressure of the vacuum dryer by creating the vacuum inside it. So in evacuation we create the vacuum, and remaining two phases we will see in detail. Evacuation is the part which deals only with the vacuum removal, okay, vacuum making, okay, and removal of ambient air or moist air from the chamber. So in second phase, that is evaporation, once standard vapor pressure is achieved, after evacuation we achieved a standard vapor pressure inside the chamber, and evaporation starts then after, because pressure is constant, we keep the pressure constant, and using the vacuum for making the evacuation we use vacuum equipment until the free water evaporates. Okay, with the help of initially we make the vacuum, and then in evaporation state we evaporate, and we also keep the pressure constant by making the vacuum, okay, with the vacuum equipment, and we evaporate all the moisture water vapors from the sample, and then it comes, like evaporation may take place for several hours. So what are the parameters which affect the evaporation? So first one is the amount of water evaporated, how much water or moisture content of the sample is, okay, initial moisture content of the sample. initial moisture content of the sample or amount of water to be evaporated, and the final. So amount of water to be evaporated depends upon the what is the initial moisture content of water and how much we are going to achieve the final moisture content of water. That on that evaporation depends. Another is ambient temperature. What are the temperature we are dealing with? Okay, what are the temperature range, what is the product quality, and what are the product constraints, and which temperature we are dealing with, that depends the drying time or evaporation time. Next is the size of vacuum equipment. Okay, so how much big or small our size of equipment is, how much capacity of the our equipment is, capacity. Okay, workability means how much bigger, how much vacuum we can achieve inside the chamber. That depends upon these things. And at the end, the evaporation will indicate the decrease in the pressure. Okay, when the evaporation occurs, what will happen? The pressure decreases inside the chamber. Okay, and the vacuum equipment is isolated for at least few hours after drying. Okay, we should isolate equipment once the drying is done. We should isolate the equipment so that we can remove all the pressure which is gained. We can remove all the pressure and and we can take out our sample. Okay, so as soon as drying is done, we can't take out the sample. We have to wait for certain hours, okay, 1 hour, 2 hours after drying, so that we can take out the sample. Okay, pressure will remain constant, and if we like when the free water is evaporating, at that time the pressure will remain constant. Okay, this was the situation in phase 1. Okay, phase 1 pressure is constant, water is removing. Clear? And the reason which is affect this phase 1 of evaporation are these three: how much amount of water we have to evaporate, ambient temperature, and the size of the equipment. In phase 3 or next phase, what will happen? That is the final drying. Okay, so in previous phase, the moisture content we can achieve, or the moisture amount we can remove or from the sample is up to 90%. Okay, we can achieve 10% or 12% or 5% of moisture content. But if we want to go further, that we have to dehydrate the sample. In that case, we go for final drying. Okay, so here we are trying to achieve the bound water as well. Okay, previously we are dealing with the free water in case of phase 2, which is evaporation. Now we are dealing with the bound water. Okay, so now the water from the cavities also we are removing, or the ionic bonds also we are removing. So in this case, we need to, whenever we need to dry the product for more dryness, okay, and the water must be removed. So for further reducing of pressure, sorry, so we reduce the pressure further so that we can make the water vapor, we can bring out the water from the system. Okay, we can bring out the bound water from the system also with the help of increasing the pressure inside the system. Okay, so we try to remove the trapped water also by increasing the vacuum. So it is always a trend that of any particle, that wherever the pressure is less, the particle try to move towards that side. Okay, so outside we try to reduce the pressure as much as we can, so that the particle trapped inside our molecules, or the particle trapped inside our food matrix, can be extracted out very easily. Okay, so this is what happens physically. Okay, but how to find out that this is happen theoretically? That will help us to make the moisture curve. Okay, which you have already seen in previous classes. That what do you mean by moisture curve? What do you mean by drying curve? Okay, so with the help of drying curve, we can identify that which type of drying is occurring. Okay, or is it dealing with the like constant rate of drying is generally happens in the free water, okay. Then in decreasing rate of drying is occurs in the bound water. So these things we can identify with the slope, okay. The slope of final drying line must be observed, and if it follow the calculated value, a shallower slope, if the slope is less, it indicates the presence of free water still remains in the system, okay. If the slope is very less or slope is not there, okay, if we are getting constant drying rate curve, then it means still the free water is there, we don't have to go for the final drying, okay, phase 3. We can continue with the phase 2. Phase 3 comes when this slope will become steeper, at that time phase 3 will come. So this is how we identify phase 2 or phase 3, okay. So what is the role of pressure inside the vacuum dryer, okay. The role of pressure is very much important in vacuum dryer. Since the in phase 1, that is evacuation, okay, the pressure is reduced to a level where evaporation of water starts at ambient temperature, okay. So here at ambient temperature itself the evaporation starts, okay. We don't have to elevate the temperature too much, okay. Even at the 25 to 30 degrees Celsius also evaporation can occur if we have evacuated or removed the if we remove the pressure and we reach the desirable pressure, then it can be achieved. This pressure is similar to the saturation vapor pressure of free water. Since the saturation vapor pressure of the water is equal to free water is equals to the pressure we have achieved, okay, which depends upon the ambient temperature. So the pressure is calculated in advance, which is noted and plotted against the pressure and time curve. So here also we note the pressure, okay. We have to calculate the pressure advance, okay, at which pressure we are going to work. We have to calculate this in advance, and then we have to put then we have to give input to our equipment, okay. Then at this pressure we should work, okay. So that is the role of pressure in vacuum drying. Now we will see the various components of a vacuum dryer. What are the different components of vacuum dryer? So this is a line diagram of a vacuum dryer. So most basic type of vacuum dryer, how it is looks. So this is observation window from which we can observe what is happening inside. So there is an operation known as purge. Okay, purging is an operation which is done before and after vacuum drying of the material. Before we do purging, so that we can remove the air present inside the sample, okay, the air present inside the chamber. This is drying chamber. So this is whatever air present before drying in the chamber, we purge it out, and before opening the door, we need to again purge inside the air so that we can achieve the atmospheric pressure inside the chamber, okay. So purging is important, so that's why there is a purging valve. Then vacuum valve to create the vacuum, okay, to take out all the air and create the vacuum. Then a vacuum gauge is there which measure the vacuum inside the chamber. Then this is a drying chamber. Then a handle will be there, okay, or door should be there. The door should be tight, okay. You have seen the sterilizer and all those things. Those doors we use for the vacuum chambers, okay, vacuum dryer. Vacuum dryer doors are the seal proof doors with the gaskets. So those doors will be there, okay. And then the power supply switch with the control panel. These are the components of a vacuum dryer. Coming to next slide, what are the types of vacuum dryer? First one is a batch type vacuum dryer. So previous we have seen, what we have seen is also a batch type vacuum dryer. So in a batch type vacuum dryer, generally it looks like this, and this shape can be anything depending upon the material we are dealing with, okay. Generally it will be of cylindrical or spherical in shape vacuum dryer. Okay, we hardly see a rectangular shape vacuum dryer. So this is one of the like near to the spherical shape vacuum dryer. So here we are having drying chamber. This is the system for vacuum. This is a vacuum generator. These are the controls. This is cleaner or filter. Okay, in case of we are dealing with granular particles. Okay, then we need also heating element. This is a jacketed type vacuum dryer. Okay, so a hot, this is a jacketed type. So hot water will be flowing inside this jacket, which will, with the help of conduction, which will raise the temperature inside the chamber, and drying will occur. Okay, so these are the things of batch type vacuum dryer. Batch type vacuum dryers are generally used. So the size of batch type vacuum dryer is anything between, industrial size is anything between 30 liters to 300 liters. These are the general size of any vacuum dryer. And once the batch is done, we have to keep vacuum dryer for a certain time, and then we rotate this and we discharge everything from the vacuum dryer. So this is a batch type vacuum dryer, and there is another type of vacuum dryer that is, that is continuous type vacuum dryer. So here also the components more or less will be same. Okay, but only the thing which we added here, so instrument controls previously also we have found, heater or chiller we have already seen. Heavy duty mixing vessel is new in this, because here the mixing of the particle of the air is constantly occurring, and there are side entry doors, choppers which will chop the particles. Okay, this is a mixing plus chopping, cutting, everything is occurring inside a vacuum dryer, not only whereas in case of batch type dryer only drying was occurring. Okay, here the material is also transported with the help of baffles and the choppers. These are the pedals which used to move the material from one end to another. Then this jacket is used to transfer the heat from one end to the particle, like this jacket here is also heat transfer because of the jacketed heat. Okay, so these are the things which happen. Then solvent recovery is there from the jacket, we take out the solvent and create the vacuum again. So these things are happening in vacuum continuous type vacuum dryer. Material will come from one end, and from here material will come, and from here it will get out after drying. So this is what happening inside a continuous type of vacuum dryer. What are the material of construction of vacuum dryer? It is made up of a stainless steel and plastic material, which we are having a detachable bowl here also, and sometimes not even the bowl, or then we are having a trays or something like that, so that we can facilitate the motion, or we can facilitate the discharging and filling of the feed into the vacuum dryer. Okay, then this whatever plate we are having, either it should be jacketed or perforated, so that we can flow the heated steam. Okay, generally it is a jacketed, flat bottom will be there, material on which is jacketed with the hot water or something. In previously we have seen that bottom plate was perforated, but in this case chamber is there and this chamber is jacketed now. Okay. So bottom plate is also a jacketed plate. So the temperature inside the dryer is controlled with the heating mantles. So we can also control the temperature with the help of heating coils or heating mantles. Okay. Or we can also use microwaves for achieving the exact temperature, and vacuum pump is used to evacuate all the air or creating the vacuum inside the system. And dry gases are used to purge. We generally, like we have talked about the RH previously also, that's why we use only dry gases to purge into the system and clean it off. Okay. So these are the things which needed to take care in a vacuum dryer, and these are the construction material for the vacuum dryer. So with this our lecture finished, and before finishing the lecture I would like to revise what we have studied. So we have seen what is vacuum drying. Okay. What do you mean by vacuum drying? Then after vacuum drying we have seen what are the different phases of vacuum drying. That is, first one was the evacuation, then evaporation, then next was the final drying. After this we have seen what is the role of pressure inside vacuum drying, which is very much important. What are the different components of vacuum drying we have seen. Vacuum dryer, what are the different components, and what are the different types of vacuum dryer, what actually they do and how they work. Continuous vacuum dryer, how they work, and what is the construction material which is used for a vacuum dryer, what are the construction consideration we have to take in picture whenever we are designing a vacuum dryer. So these things we have seen. So your assignment from this will be write the advantages of vacuum dryer over other drying methods. This is your assignment. Okay. So write down the advantages of the vacuum dryer over other drying methods. So that's it for today's lecture. We will meet next time for next class.